What did you buy with the first money you earned? Write in the comments what you think about this. Enjoy the show. Story 1. New clothes, a comforter I had control over because I wanted a nicer one from Walmart. Still have it, although it isn't that good. And the rest of my paycheck got handed to my parents, so my stepdad couldn't have any justification for kicking me out at 18 since he said if I didn't give him all of my money, he would boot me to the curb. I maybe got $50 of my first ever check that was well over $250, since I burnt myself to a crisp at a state fair pulling 16-plus-hour shifts from Sunday to Sunday. Story 2. Starbucks double shots, the canned espresso shots. I earned a crisp $100 bill from a neighbor at age 12 when I fixed her printer. Back when $100 was a lot of money, not just for a kid. My dad immediately took $80 from me, so I thought I'd rebel a bit. I wasn't allowed to have coffee. Story 3. Metallica and Justice for All. My parents weren't against it exactly, but they didn't want to buy it for me because, I don't know, I was 9. But I took my dog walking money and bought it from Strawberries the next time they brought me to the mall. It felt extra awesome because I was all mine. Years later, I used money from the same job, same dog, same neighbor to buy a '78 Les Paul. Took a long time to save up at $1.20/week, but it was worth it. Story 4. Lunch for school. Grew up as a custody kid. Mom was awesome on her weeks. Dad was a neglectful alcoholic and would just forget to make lunches or pack absolute junk from the cabinets into liquor store beer bags. I was so thankful when I started earning my own money and could buy lunch at school on his weeks. Story 5. If I remember correctly, and there are no guarantees on that, I think the first money I earned was 2 dimes. This was the 1950s. It was a lot more money back then. And with one of them, I bought a Tester's balsa wood F-86 glider kit. The kit was pretty simple. You sliced on a spot on the flat fuselage to shove the wing through, and basically duplicated that with the tail rudder. Then you shoved the all-important metal weight on the front of the plane's flat fuselage so that would have the right mass and balance, and then used your thumb and forefinger to launch it into the air. All in all, a pretty fun way of spending a dime. Story 6. I bought my mom a poodle. She went with her everywhere. She took her on vacation. My mom gave Christmas gifts and birthday gifts from the dog. When Mom got sick with cancer and had her kidney removed, the dog came to visit at the hospital. Morgan, the poodle, became her 3rd child. She is pictured on Mom's headstone, and after she passed 2 years after Mom, she was laid to rest with Mom. Best poodle ever. She lived for 18 years. Best money spent. Story 7. When I was 14, I pirated a Steam game called Change. It was a really fucking good game, and I played it religiously until I saw a post from the developer saying that he was having money trouble, and I felt so bad that I deleted the game and vowed to buy it as soon as I could. When I got my first job, I finally got a bank account, deposited my first paycheck, and some dog-sitting money from my uncle. The first thing I did was get on Steam and buy Change. I then took a week and a half off work because I got my wisdom out and played the game the entire time. Story 8. Started working at 10. And I was responsible for buying my own necessities. That is deodorant, clothes, pads, shoes, etc. My first non-essential purchase was when I was 15, in a 97, and had finally saved up to get a 5-speaker surround sound, dual cassette, 5-disc CD changer with subwoofer. I was so ecstatic. My first CD was Savage Garden's black and white album. I'm still proud of that. Story 9. With the money I made working as a stock clerk at a Nectals K-Foods grocery store, I bought a Timex Atlantis 100 wristwatch with Indiglow. I loved that watch. They still make it under the Expedition line, but I remember my original feeling much more premium. The one I have now seems light and cheap. The future isn't always better. Story 10. Started working at 10 and I was responsible for buying my own necessities. That is deodorant, clothes, pads, shoes, etc. My first non-essential purchase was when I was 15, in 97, and had finally saved up to get a 5-speaker surround sound, dual cassette, 5-disc CD changer with subwoofer. I was so ecstatic. My first CD was Savage Garden's black and white album. I'm still proud of that. Story 11. I always saved all of my money. I was never spending. I always saved it because I would always think, what if there's something that I might want later that's going to cost more? I would buy an occasional candy bar and such, but I still remember after a summer and then some of babysitting, I came downstairs, cash in hand, and fanned myself with it in front of my mother. She was shocked and took me right to the bank so that I could deposit it into a savings account. Story 12. My friend brought me along to a job that was supposed to be a one-person job only. Basically, we had to maintain a fish breeding tank. The pay was RM50, which is like $10 LOL, but that was for one person since my friend brought me along with had to split the payment, so I get RM25 and he gets RM25, so $5 each, haha. And no, this was not 50 years ago when prices are still normal, this was 2018, so RM25 pay for every week. So that's like RM75 a month, which is the cost of eating out 4 times El Mao. So anyway, some shit happened, and we ended up only working there only for a day. When we got our pay, I couldn't think of what to spend the money on. So I remembered I always wanted a turtle, so I went to my local pet shop and saw some red-eared sliders being sold for exactly RM25, bought one and named her Shelby. She's around 6 years old now, most definitely the best RM25 I ever spent. Story 13. My friend had recently given me a cool-looking integrated amplifier that his uncle was throwing out because it wasn't working anymore. I got a job at a video store and took it to get fixed with my first $80 paycheck, 1989. I went into the hi-fi repair shop, that no longer exists, and talked to the owner for about an hour, who told me that I should get into DIY electronics because I was asking tons of questions. I bought a small soldering kit at Radio Shack on my next paycheck, and it seems like I waited about 2 months before getting a call from the shop saying it was ready for pickup. Went back and had another long chat with the owner, this time telling him that I had started dabbling with soldering components. He told me there is no school for audio equipment repairs, that getting into electronics as a trade would prepare me, and I considered getting into the trade, but later decided against it. By the time the IA that he repaired almost 35 years ago started showing signs of worn capacitors, I already had the knowledge and experience fixing and building other audio kits. I'm listening to vinyl on that thing right now. Best $65 I ever spent. Story 14, 1987. Sad truth, but my parents opened a joint savings account for me so I wouldn't spend all my paychecks frivolously. I kept the balance after, was put away $150-200. I worked weekends and 1 or 2 Sunday afternoon or Thursday evening and holidays making $2.25 in HR, CDN. My first purchase was a couple mortgage payments and some electric bills. I'm still resentful, but I understand now why it had to be done. The 80s were as hard as now, believe it or not. I was 13 years old at the time. Story 15. Probably PS2 games, or CDs, DVDs, or a ticket to a movie at the local theater. I was a 16-yo, and those were basically all the things I was spending money on at the time, so I don't remember specifically. I did save up a fair amount of money after a year, and was able to pull together $1,000, and my mom matched another $500 so that I could buy my first car. So that was the first big item that I saved up paycheck money for. Story 16. A Nakamura Criterion road racing bicycle to use in local competitions. I was 15 and worked the whole summer and paid $1,700 for it in 1987, and then some Fuchling skeet stole it and wrecked it. A person in their neighborhood told me who had it, so I went home and grabbed my chainsaw and walked to his house demanding my bike, and he wouldn't give it back, so I cut down his front door. Then once inside, I started to cut walls, furniture, the stair rails, until frantically he gave me my bike back, but it was a mess. So I cut their kitchen table in half and any toys I could see on the way out, grabbed my bike and went home. No cops were called because they were scared to death of me by that point and knew if they called, I'd be back. Nobody FKN fucked me after that. Don't steal from me. I will go to jail if need be. Story 17. I started my first job, a paper route, at 11. First thing I ever bought was probably candy or a comic book. First big thing was the year the first Nintendo Entertainment System came out. I had an envelope taped to my wall with a picture of a thermometer with the price of the NES on it, and I would put my money in the envelope as I earned it and fill in the thermometer with a red marker. Took me all summer, but I got that NES. Story 18. This is so weird, but when I was younger, my mother hated gum. Because it is so bad for you to chew with an empty stomach and all, she never let me have it when I was little to prevent damaging my stomach's lining. From about 8 years old, I swore that when I was older, that I'd be able to buy my own bubblegum. And so, after receiving my first salary, I bought a pack of Stimroll Tropical Gum, a core memory. Story 19. I took my younger brother to a showing of the original Planet of the Apes movies at our local discount third-run theater. If I recall, it was all 5 movies, shown back to back. I think I paid 50 cents each for the privilege, and bought popcorn and drinks and treats all day. It was summer, it was hot as Hades, and I was stuck watching him. I was around 13, which made him 5 or 6. Story 20. I bought my family and I to go meals from a sit-down restaurant. Spent my entire first paycheck on this. It was the right thing to do. Parents are too damn shy/humble/proud to step into a restaurant, so I brought them food from one. They loved it, and both would indirectly ask for more later on with stealthy comments like, "Remember that one restaurant you brought us food from? What was its name?" is enough from my dad to indicate he wants food from there, lol. Story 21. I mowed lawns so I could buy my first CD. It was either The Strokes' Room on Fire or Taking Back Sundays Where You Wanna Be. 3 years later, I got my first real job and used my first paycheck to buy a white 60s edition Fender Stratocaster with a reverse neck and reverse pickups. There was a Sunburst Strat at the local music store that I had been eyeing for a year, and when I got the money and walked in to buy it, someone was literally buying it at that moment. I was devastated. My grandma took me to neighboring city, and I tried every guitar at Guitar Center. None of them sounded like the Strat I had my eyes and heart set on for the last year, most likely because of the down mood I was in having seen my Strat being sold in front of my eyes. I was ready to walk out of the store defeated when I tried a white Strat hanging on the gear testing rack. I didn't like the look of it, essentially a Hendrix model with a left-handed neck, but when I played it, it just felt right. So I took it home, and it's been with me ever since. I've played it on countless stages and in recording studios. Story 22. When I was 16, the first thing I ever bought was a $450 Vine Vera moisturizer. I still kick myself over that it was so stupid, Olmao. Also, a crap ton of anime figures. I don't even watch anime anymore, that I'm still trying to get rid of for a reasonable price. I spent thousands on those things, and now that I'm an adult with bills, I'm so annoyed I spent money on that when I could have put that into savings or invested. Story 23. What ecosystem would use the answers on this social group? It matters to me personally. I remember that was a big fuss on Comnode that collected my personal info, with a phone number pre-allocated in such way that would be addressable and create vectors before even first mobile phones were available on market, before 1990, when first paycheck was cached. First cached paycheck data use was started often, every other job, even summer/occasional ones. Seems that I'm in every such local ecosystem for a long time, to show the Harvard, Berkeley, and MIT smart assess that they are wrong or such. For some reasons, some that served my life indicators without approval or filtering personal details, do play now the roles of sexual assistants, with a big gradient from what they actually do when face-to-face with me, even if they wear pistols and badges. Probably they would not obtain market license for some imaginary app for personal data infringement, and the deviant sexual assistants would be the replacement for settlements. Are the Nordic countries way before others in use of such social studies? Story 24. I worked at Arby's as part of a work school program. I made $4 an hour. The first paycheck I got, I bought baby shower gifts for my BF's BFF's GF. She was 16 and scared to death. I was 14 and just wanted her to know she had people, even me, that gave a shit. I'd watch her baby once he was here when I could so she could get a break. We were cool like that for a couple years and then fell off. No blow-up, just natural drift of an 18-year-old with a baby and a barely 16-year-old. I think of her and her son often and always wish them well. Story 25. I saved it until I could afford an AM/FM/shortwave/weather/aircraft multiband radio with cassette player. Also some paperback science fiction novels. I read both 2001 and Star Wars before I saw the movies. And some vinyl record albums. Next, better paying job. I bought better clothes than the Kmart schlock my parents bought me. Frey campus boots and real leather sneakers, not the off-brand PVC ones that would crack and flake apart. Cotton clothing, not polyester. Wool sweaters, leather or suede jackets, not vinyl, etc. Wire-rimmed eyeglasses, not the plastic fake tortoiseshell ones. Next job after that, I saved it all up to afford to move into the college dorms rather than live at home as a commuter student. With what was left over, I bought pizza and beer during the semester. I had a scholarship that paid for full tuition and books, my vengeance on all the classmates who picked on the nerdy kid in high school. Dorm living, nice clothes, grew a beard and mustache. My parents hated it that I escaped their working-class world. Eventually got a master's in chemistry and a fairly good entry-level job in a lab. My father sneered. "That's not work. Work is when you come home stinking of sweat," I replied. "Somebody must think it's work. They're paying me $XXXXX a year to do it," knowing that I was making more money than him. He never asked me anything about my finances ever again. Story 26. Lent it to my longtime childhood best friend so he could buy weed. He had promised to pay me back with interest, and we'd been friends since playgroup, maybe 12, 15 years of being best friends. Never saw that money again. Guy pretty much stopped talking to me and avoided me from the day I handed over the cash. Guy turned into a petty criminal, drug-taking, dealing chav who thought he was a gangsta in suburban East Midlands. Overall, I think 65 pounds was a good investment to get him out of my life. Story 27 hadn't saved enough yet. Got a loan from my bank when the loan officer saw the things I was buying for $600. A washer and dryer, worth over $600, couch and chairs, end tables, lamps, various cookware, sheets, towels, and other homey things for $600 cash. She wanted cash only since her ex couldn't trace it. A friend's housemate was getting a divorce and was selling all the good stuff, so her soon-to-be ex couldn't have it. The loan officer also took his wife to the house and bought the kids' bedroom sets and some other stuff. Some other bank employees bought stuff too. She made many thousands of dollars from her never-advertised sale. Only word of mouth. Why? I literally owned a bed with old sheets, some bad cookware, and a TV with a stand, all from my parents' overstock. Rented a single bedroom with a shared kitchen and bathroom, and was moving into my own studio apartment. I needed everything. I could handle the icky shared kitchen, but not the shared bathroom. Story 28, food at the convenience store for me and my buddies. Growing up in the early 80s, my sister and I worked Saturdays at our church doing cleaning, and I helped my dad with the lawn work. My parents paid us $20 per day for helping out. We would do things like go up and down all the pews, pulling out the little plastic communion cups, removing trash, and helping with stuff like cleaning windows. My mom did all the vacuuming and cleaning the bathrooms and stuff. When I was old enough, my dad would let me mow the overflow parking lot on an old snapper riding lawnmower. I used to love it. So I'd earn my $20, and me and my two best buddies would head down to the 7-Eleven at the corner, and I'd splurge on Slurpees, nachos, Big Bites, and bags full of candies. I was broke by Monday, but we lived like kings. Ulmao. Meanwhile, my sister, who is now an accountant, go figure, saved her money and bought a $500 stereo for her bedroom. I was pretty jealous, and that's how I learned the power of saving. Me and the boys still had nachos every weekend. Story 29. I had an N64 website back in the 90s as a 14-year-old. I had a generic ad banner at the top. Once you collected enough clicks that you earned $10, you could request it be mailed to you as a check. I clicked it every day. I assume it also occasionally got clicked by visitors to my site. I had 1,000 plus unique visitors per day. Eventually, I had enough and I got my check. My grandpa, whose computer I used to make the website, was so proud that he made a copy of it and framed it. I don't have it though, unfortunately. It got misplaced after he passed away. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, be sure to write comments and share your stories.